Not that the nation has ever been a bastion of sanity, but you could say here that this is completely and totally batshit crazy, and this article has gotten a shit ton of criticism from just about everybody on the planet. And somehow this author, who's a man, apparently, well, what else would it be? What woman in her right mind would ever think that male cheaters in women's sports is okay? Now, somehow, if you call them a cheat and a fraud, you're transphobic. There's no such thing as transphobia. There's no such thing as trans. There's such a thing as men who think they're so entitled, and no matter how bad a swimmer they are competing against a man, they figure it's an easy win to cheat in women's sports. It's women's swimming. And it isn't just swimming. The tide has turned a lot because people see this shit for what it is. It's cheating. So anyway, I'm not really going to wade myself through this damn thing because first of all, I'm tired. And second of all, I don't want my blood pressure to go through the roof. But it's all the same old horse shit. Here we go. I don't want that. But why would you defend a cheat? Why would you do it? And I don't know why the Biden article is on here. Anyway, okay. And somehow they don't want you to view this article. Because, yeah, it's controversial. I don't want to donate, you bastard. But anyway, someone on the right wrote a piece here about how the left excuses men competing in women's swimming. That's exactly what it is. And women are finally saying enough is enough of this shit. But more important, women just need to absolutely refuse to compete with them. And this crap would stop. But anyway, when Lyra Thomas, and this is what this author, it's probably a Jazz Shaw, who knows, wrote, when Lyra Thomas graduated from college and left the NCAA swimming field, I foolishly hoped the entire cross-dressing sports debate would begin to die down and women's sports could return to being sports for women. Clearly, I was mistaken. There are still people beating that drum and complaining about the treatment that Thomas received in the media. He deserved every bit of criticism because he had no business competing against women in a woman's sport. He was a cheater. There is a hilarious article in The Nation this week using Thomas as some sort of flag bearer to proclaim the entire sport of collegiate swimming is a hotbed of transphobia and hate. Yeah, it's hate to allow men to take all awards. It's goddamn hate to support the idea men should cheat in women's sports. And they note here old Matthew Iglesias. I hadn't even paid attention to him in probably 20 years. I wouldn't even have known about the article if Matt Iglesias hadn't panned it in a humorous fashion. So even he's against that. The whole article is like progressive Mad Libs. I like that, Mad Libs. That doesn't even make a token effort at being persuasive. No, that's just privilege. They don't have an argument. Anybody that supports that crap doesn't have an argument anyway. The author of the article is someone named Frankie Della Cretas, a trans activist whose writing reportedly sits at the intersection of sports, gender, culture, and queerness. Hell, he's fucked up. He's a fucked up man. But how the hell, I'm waiting for people to peddle the return of Lance Armstrong's reputation. Because after all, if a man can cheat in women's sport, I mean, if they could do that in the most flagrant way, why shouldn't cheating be sanctioned all across the board? But this is the most flagrant kind. Lyra Thomas is all the proof you need. A mediocre at best male swimmer who took some women's hormone pills, jumped into the pool, and began blowing the actual women out of the water, both literally and figurative. We've seen it happen and documented it here in other competitive sports ranging from cycling to weightlifting. And isn't it odd how we almost only ever hear about men transitioning to compete in women's sports? If there really no difference, shouldn't there be a bunch of former women dominating the men's sporting events? Funny how that works out. It's because they're not competitive. It's because the sexes are different. But this damn thing isn't going to let me in. So that's the deal. If you can access this damned article, and I tried to, but what little of it I saw, it was just a bunch of deranged shit. The longer I write about trans inclusion in sports, this author says, the less willing I am to debate the science or ideas of advantage or fairness. If you can't tell the difference between the sexes, then you need a fucking shrink. You really need that. If you can't tell that there are massive arguments. That's not straw man. There are differences. And we don't want you goddamn perverts and cheaters in our spaces and in our sports. But then this article, yeah, it's just, yeah. Anyway, and I think somewhere I saw where a few Democrats are breaking ranks in the state legislatures regarding, you know, the transitioning, you know, the medical quackery done against children, and they're trying to put a stop to it, and things like that. So you get a few of them out there. Once Democratic politicians feel comfortable and brave enough to do it, then this shit is going to be pushed back hard, and it needs to be pushed back hard. But oh God, I mean, that's pathetic, totally pathetic. The nation, you really jumped this shark this time. I mean, you've jumped it for a long time, but to even publish such a nonsense is really disgraceful. The end.